Yes, I just bought an F10 M5 and here it is in all its glory. Now, I love this car. I've loved this car for 10, 13 years now. And finally, depreciation has hit it hard enough where I can afford to get one. So I'm happy, I'm loving it. Now, this is a 10-year-old sports car, so naturally there's a lot wrong with it. There's multiple things that don't work on the car. There's different things inside the interior that need to be touched up. But I just don't care about that. I love the way it drives. It drives great. It drives like a car that's been taken care of mechanically. Cosmetically, that's another thing. But mechanically, this car is solid. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly what's wrong with the car when I bought it. So the first thing wrong with the car is all four wheels are absolutely curbed up. You can see at pretty much the entire circumference of the rim, you have curb rash, to include on the rear wheels, which I'm not even sure how you get this on the rear wheel so bad. I guess parallel parking, but I mean, the rear wheels don't turn, so it should be pretty easy to avoid the rear wheels getting curbed up. That one's not as bad, but if you come to this one, I believe this is the only wheel that has like, I think actually like zero rash somehow, which is super, super surprising. This other front wheel though has taken an absolute beating. You can see it's just friggin' curbed up everywhere. But it doesn't really affect the functionality of the wheel or the tire. So this is something that can be fixed. You know, you can have a mobile wheel repair come out and refinish your wheels for you. So the next thing wrong with the car is that the blower fan for the AC doesn't work. So thankfully it's not that hot right now in Southern California, but you can imagine on a warm day how hot it probably gets in here. It probably gets muggy and nasty and it just sucks. So again, I noticed the blower not working when I originally got into the car right before I purchased it. And I knew that there was something wrong with the air conditioning system, but I just didn't care. I just care about how the car drives, and I figured I'll fix all this stuff later. So the fan speed does increase up front, but you don't actually feel any air coming out. The only air that comes out is out of the back blower, because these cars, the 5 Series, are optioned with 2 blowers sometimes for a rear 4-zone climate control system. So one of the other major things wrong with this beast is that I'm pretty sure the AC compressor is not any good. When the car is running, I can't see the AC clutch engage. I did note that the AC blower isn't working, like I had mentioned earlier in the video. However, I'm not sure what that has to do with the AC compressor, so we'll have to look into that as well. Another quite expensive repair. I got quoted somewhere above $4,000 for that. So I'll come back to that one. Now the other thing that's wrong is that I keep getting a low coolant warning. So in this car, the S63TU, you have one coolant expansion tank there, and then you have another one for your ECU and turbos here. So the one over here is for your engine. And if we come in, I believe it was giving me a warning, but the car might be warm already, so it might not. Let's see if that fault pops up. So it seems like it's gone now, but trust me, when I turn the car on when it's cold, sometimes I get a low coolant warning. And the coolant's not actually that low. I just think it wasn't properly filled the last time, or filled when cold. Because what's happening when the coolant expands is getting to the proper level, but then when it cools all the way down, it's not at the proper level anymore. Now the next thing that doesn't work is the sunshade buttons. Some of you may be familiar with this option. So this is a rear motorized sunshade for your back windshield. And in this car, it does absolutely nothing. So if I hit the button, the ignition's on, ignition is on. Hit the button, nothing happening, no action. What the fuck? Why are you like this? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So anyways, I gotta get that repaired too. So this is the trunk of the F10 M5. As you can see, it's pretty huge. And I have an entire rear sunshade in the back right here. It kind of extends into the back seat area, so I had to fold down the right rear seat. So this one does have fold down seats, so that makes it a lot easier to change out the sunshade because I don't have to take the entire rear seats out. I just fold them down, take out the side bolsters, and then I can get to the rear sunshade. So this right here is a new one, and I'm gonna go ahead and install that soon, do a video on that. The other thing that's wrong with this car is mostly quality things, but again, this is a 10 years old car. This car has been in North Carolina at some point during its life, which is a very humid environment. So I'm not surprised to see some of these things. You can see the dashboard lifting up just a tad right here. I mean, this is nothing bad. That's nothing that's gonna deter me away from the car. I know that that's an expensive repair because to reupholster this leather, it's at least like $4 grand, and that's on the low end. Another thing that I noticed is that sometimes the fabric here was kind of bubbling out, but I think, again, that happened from the humid environment the car was in North Carolina. This car made its way to California probably 7 to 8 years ago. It's been here since. This is stuck now that I pushed it back on, so it's actually not bubbled up now. Contrary to how it looks, is just kind of the shape of the dash as well. Now the rest of the things, like I said again, are mostly quality things. So you can see there looks like some fingernail marks on the door. That's pretty typical of a leather door, especially with BMW's Nappa leather, or merino leather actually. That stuff can get scratched up pretty easily. So the back door panels actually look pretty clean. All the sunshades work. The door panel's not really marked up. There's a few blemishes here and there, things like that, but overall the car's in great shape. So then here's the front passenger door. I don't really care for the wood trim, but that's what this car came with, so we'll make it work. It's not the worst. So you got the Bang & Olufsen speakers in the door. Luckily, the one in the dashboard still raises up because that's also a pricey replacement, about $1,000. Now, here's the passenger rear door. This door has a couple little marks here. Some of this stuff is probably honestly just like dirt or little things that can be wiped off that I haven't attempted to yet, even though the car has been washed. But they're usually not too rough with leather surfaces, so they don't damage it. So otherwise, this car is in pretty good shape. So you can see the passenger seat, no real marks, no real blemishes. It looks pretty nice. Same with the driver's seat, looking pretty good. Steering wheel is in pretty good shape. This is a pre-LCI M5. Notice the steering wheel shape. I don't care about that. The car still drives just like an LCI. Rear seats in great shape as well. The other thing that's in great shape in this car is the Alcantara headliner. There's no real blemishes or marks, as you can see. That was really refreshing because that thing can be really expensive to reupholster, very complicated to remove and take out for reinstallation. So one of the last but probably most important things wrong with this car was that both headlights were broken. Both of the adaptive functions were broken, which means the headlights wouldn't swivel anymore. In addition to that, the driver's side headlight had a massive amount of water in it. It looked like it had been dipped in a pool somewhere. It was just totally awful, and I'm sure all the chips were all fried up in there. However, the dealership couldn't sell it that way, so they went ahead and replaced both headlights for me, which was freaking amazing because, as I'm sure a lot of you know, these headlights are around $1,800 a piece, and that's not even really dealer pricing. That's like online, probably from FCP Euro. And so they went ahead and replaced them for me. These are Hella branded. Hella is a good replacement for OEM BMW. Otherwise, they would just use the BMW stamped ones, but these ones are stamped with Hella. They work fine. They look just as good quality-wise, and they should last just as long, if not longer. So I'm not mad about that one. I'm just happy that I have 2 new headlights in my F10 M5. So that was my F10 M5, and as you can see, there was a lot wrong with this car. You know, this car was clearly neglected and probably parked outside. There was a lot of leaves in the engine bay under the cover to the blower right here. On the windshield cowl, there's a lot of leaves and flowers and stuff like that. So I had the car fully cleaned off. I had it detailed and stuff like that. But it still needs some things cosmetically and a few things mechanically. But as far as engine, transmission, differential, all the driveline, all that stuff is perfect. All that stuff is on point. I had the oil checked out even though it was 6 months past due. Came back clean. I changed the oil anyway. I just changed the air filters, I took out the charcoal filters, I changed the cabin filters, the brakes and the rotors are good, and this car's ready to get on the road. I just need to make it look pretty now.